I am sure you have seen me fail a lot, mess up a lot. We all fail in our parenting, in your marriage relationships, with our family members. We all mess up in our workplaces. We mess up and we know we are messing up and we still continue. And that is the idea this morning. When Jesus looked at Peter in Matthew chapter 16 and verse 18 and said, Peter, you are a rock. On your rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail. In our culture, when we say you are awesome or you rock, we are complimenting people, but that does not make us perfect, or we are never a failure, for we all have failed and we will fail, we will mess up. Just like Peter, in Matthew chapter 17, Peter was selfish during the transfiguration story. Jesus called Peter a stumbling block. Oops. Matthew chapter 14, Jesus was walking on water. Peter wanted to walk on water, and as he was walking and Jesus was helping Peter walk on water, Peter lost his focus. He failed, he messed up, and he sunk. Matthew chapter 16, Jesus was predicting his death on the cross, his sacrifice for the world, and Peter was acting all selfish and giving advice to Jesus and saying, "Oh Jesus, you don't have to die on the cross. I will never let you die on the cross or sacrifice." Jesus looks at Peter and says, "Get behind me, you selfish Satan." Now, the worst thing Peter was doing and failing was during the crucifixion, when Jesus was arrested. Peter disowned Jesus more than 3 times. He really denied that he did not know Jesus. Look at the failure of Peter. Sometimes we can all connect with us failing and messing up. The question is, what am I learning from my failures? What am I going to learn every time I mess up? And that is the prayer we can pray to ask God to build this church on us, is to say, God, bring your people, ecclesia, into my life. In spite of my failures, you are building me to reach out to people. I'm not sure about you as a child, but I failed in many of my school subjects as a child. The Indian educational system was based on memorizing and taking a test. If you can memorize and write it down on a piece of paper in a limited time, you were a success. You were getting hundreds on your tests. I failed many times because I could not memorize, or I could not able to write it down in a limited time. But that defined me as a failure. Sometimes systems, people, or incidents can qualify us as failures or mess ups. The question is, what have we learned when we fail or mess up that we can really use that to encourage other people? Just like Peter, he built his church by sacrificing his life upside down on the cross for the sake of Christ. This morning, think about your life, your relationships, your work at home, outside, the people you connect with, the people you don't connect with. When we fail, when we mess up, the question is, what can I learn? And asking God to be part of that learning experience is spiritually growing. I have a wonderful quote. Failure or failures are part of Christian life. If we don't fail, then we don't grow spiritually. If we don't grow spiritually, then we start blaming others, judging others, and hurting others. When we fail, when we mess up, and we learn new lessons, we can empathize with others. We can build God's church in others. Through my failures, through my mess ups, the lessons I have learned, I can use them to encourage other people when they fail. And that's what Jesus meant in Matthew 16 verse 18. You are a rock, and I will build my church. Amen.